Hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. You're just going to have to bear with me a few moments just to finish getting everything all set up on the stream, and then we'll be able to sort of jump straight in. Hey everyone, so those that are just tuning in, you're just going to have to bear with me a few minutes. I'm just making a few slight changes to the stream in the background. So I'm just making sure that I get the link to the stream sent out over on the Facebook page, because a lot of people always complain that I don't really do streams with a whole lot of notice, so I want to make sure people can watch the stream live if they want to. So just a moment or two longer and then we'll be good to go. Okay, so thanks everybody for tuning in to this Saturday evening live stream. For those of you that have been wondering where I've been for the past couple of weeks, I've just got back from a holiday in Bali, which for those of you that have good geography skills, you'll know it's a long way from the UK. So even though I got back a couple of days ago, I've just been too jet lagged to get around to putting any new videos together. And also just before I went away, again, those of you who may remember, my iMac needed to go back into Apple to get some service work done when the Wi-Fi card went bust. So it's not been a productive couple of weeks on the channel, but now I'm back. I'm just getting back up into the swing of things. So whilst I work on the video, which I think is going to be out next Friday, I thought I'd take the opportunity to do a little bit of streaming for a game that I haven't shown on the channel before, and a lot of people ask me to get around to reviewing, and I will do that. But Starcraft 64 is a very cool, interesting game, especially those that like real-time strategy games. This is definitely a game to check out. It's been a while since I played this one. I did complete it years ago, and it's a pretty tough game, especially towards some of the later stages. But for now, I'm just going to refresh myself, and again, looking at the chat from those of you that have joined, some of you weren't even aware that this was an N64 game. So I'm going to go straight away, start to the tutorial boot camp, and then just work my way through the levels. So the advisor is saying, welcome to Terran Boot Camp. Here you will learn the basics of unit selection and control. Your advisor will instruct you throughout the mission on the skills you will need for combat. You may skip the demonstration by pressing the B button. To begin the training sequence, press start. So we know that I really like sci-fi games, so straight away this is a game that I'll like. So the advisor is saying that the Terran Marine is the basic combat unit, assault unit. Select the Marine by placing a cursor over him and pressing the A button. There you go, perfect.
Go, go, go.
So locate your comrades, move your Marine by pressing the B button. When moving, using the B button, your Marine will attack any hostile units he encounters.
Let's move.
Did she just assume his gender? There you go, group of Marines.
Rock and roll. Checked up and good to go. Rock and
Okay, let's go do some hunting.
go, go, go.
If I remember, did they not come down here? See, this is the thing, when I play a game that I've not played for a while,
Rock and roll.
there you go. Bits will come back to me as we play.
Go, go, go. Rock and roll. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Rock and roll. Let's move.
Base is under attack.
So as we get to this bridge, these guys are going to get progressively harder. But I also think I remember seeming to get some reinforcements as well as we get across this bridge. I can't remember how heavily fortified it is. This is just the basic training level.
Go, go, go. Go, go, go.
And no, this is not compatible with the N64 mouse, unfortunately. It would have been pretty cool. I always thought that would be something that would have been a really sort of good idea, to be honest, but it never was. Okay, let's start getting some supplies together.
Not enough minerals.
Checked up and good to go. Rock and roll.
Let's do some harvesting. So one of the cool things about this game as well is the fact that because it's an RTS game, there is a lot of building and harvesting and sort of supply management involved. So one of the cool things is it will give me the opportunity to come to the chat. So let's just do a quick roll call just whilst I'm waiting for SCVs to be built. So Lionel Chan Hu Theng, the very first person in the chat, thank you very much. Tiang Metal Reloaded, Mr. Wapoloff, Bill Pippin, Quilas Esquivel Madrazo, Retro Revival, Cuba, good to see you as always, Squall Leo, Comprehend Games. Let me get some more SCVs in the... Let's get those on order. Where are we up to? So many people tuning in. N64 Brazil, always good to see you as well. As I was enjoying your streams. I only managed to catch the Nightmare Creatures over Halloween.
Reporting for duty.
So I need to build some barracks. Fiona Lee, good to see you too.
SCV, good to go, sir.
Rapture, very hi to you too. Yeah, N64 Brazil, definitely agree. We were just talking about it. If this had the support for the N64 mouse, it would be pretty cool.
SCV, good to go, sir.
Rapture have I played Buck Bumble again since my review? No. A lot of people are surprised. One of the things with the channel and trying to get round to reviewing all of the games is the fact that normally once I've finished doing a review, I'm straight on to the next game. So it's quite rare at the moment that I do go back and start sort of playing a game. Unless it's one that I really love, like Diddy Kong Racing, I play all the time. But some of the more obscure games I don't get around to playing all that often. Fiona Lee, a ukulele comic book. I didn't know that was a thing. I'll have to go and take a look into that. It's one of those games I've still not got around to playing. I've heard a lot of mixed things about it. Some people seem to love it. Some people were a little bit negative on it. Get some more Marines built. Yeah, N64 Brazil. Saying that though, could somebody really modify this to work with the mouse? I mean, you could, I suppose, work the analog stick, but I think you'd still need a control to basically, you know, do all of the commands. So
Supply depots required.
Yes, sir?
okay, so I need a supply depot as well. Comprehend Games, will I review Castlevania 64? Yes, I'll also review Legacy of Darkness eventually when I get around to it. Each year I always plan to do it for Halloween, to do them, you know, both reviews back to back, but this sort of time of year is always a pretty relaxing time for me. When it gets to the sort of last quarter of the year, work slows down a bit. It's generally when I go on my holidays. I sort of go to Thailand, Bali, like I've just come back to. So normally I take a lot of time off from work in the last quarter of the year, just before Christmas, and then I go skiing as well, so a bit of a mix, but not really much time. But I promise I'll get around to reviewing and covering off the Castlevania games as soon as I just find the time to do it. Tree Ghetto, you and your friend played the crap out of this game as kids. Yeah, it was one of those. It made it a lot more accessible. Tree Ghetto, don't worry. After the live stream, probably at some point tomorrow, I'll get the recording of the entire stream just to go live. So if you can't stay and watch the full stream, don't worry, I will try to get the live stream up as soon as possible, just so you can watch through it if you want to.
You want a piece of me, boy?
James Bond James Bond 099. Thank you very much. What's my opinion on when the N64 Mini will be released? To be honest, I was really expecting it for this Christmas. I think they're missing a trick, not going head to head with Sony. It would have been a pretty cool angle to go out for Christmas, but it's really tricky to tell. I've really no idea at this point. As I said, I definitely thought they would have done it by now, but it's not really doing its thing. Yeah, spring could work. I just always think that Christmas would have been a better shout. The Cimatron, had no idea Starcraft was in the N64. Yeah, a lot of people are the same. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to just do a stream of it, because it's one of those games that I enjoy. You know, it's not one that I go to a huge amount of times, simply for the fact I think it's one of those games that you really need to get into and play sort of start to finish. A really good question coming from Deep State Globalist Games. Is there some sort of Ultra HDMI cartel that hides the kits to sell for $500? Getting hold of of Ultra HDMI was one of the toughest things I've ever had to get. It would have been easy to get hold of something like an N64 DD or something, because I had to literally, I think the third attempt when they had, I bought mine through Badass Gaming, and I think it was the third time when they went live for orders. Within 30 seconds for the first 2 times that they went live, they were sold out. So when the third round came up, I was literally sat there with 4 or 5 windows open, just trying to get the order pushed through as quick as possible. Then I eventually got one, and then I had to send my console all the way to the States to get the install done. And I don't know if he's really busy or if he's just slow, but it took months. I mean, I think it was about 4 or 5 months from when I first sent it before he actually did the install. And I was chasing up with emails for like, months, just trying to get this guy to do the install and get it back to me. So I don't think it's a problem with the availability. That's apparently, from what people tell me, it's kind of okay now. But I think it's more of an issue with the fact that there's just a lot of demand for it. A lot of people want it. So I think people that have got it have realised, they can flip their consoles pretty quickly to people that are really desperate to get hold of them. And basically, I suppose, I wouldn't say scalping, but, making a good profit on it, which, it's a capitalist world that we live in. Some people want to do that. But it's definitely a worthy investment for those of you that can afford it. And if you are, big into N64, it just makes life a whole lot easier, especially to record, capture, stream, and even play on modern TVs. If you don't want to have a big old CRT TV in your room, then it makes things a lot easier. Okay, so we've built up now. This is just going to be an action sequence. So I'm going to have to do some attacking, or defending even. So we can have some hordes of enemies. There you go. That's phase 1 done. Victory. Deep State Globalist Games, did I send it to Georgia? I can't remember where Badass Games is based, to be honest. Okay, this is the next phase. The next phase even. So this is like the second tutorial level. This is more to do with sort of resource management.
Yes, sir?
So I need a refinery. There we go. Let's get building. Timothy Hayes, real-time strategy game should have been on the Wii with the Wiimote. It was the first thing I thought of when I saw the pointer of the Wiimote. You can't think of one big RTS series that made it to the Wii or Wii U. I'd probably agree with you on that. I'd also say point-and-click games, games like Broken Sword back in the day, Indiana Jones, they're the type of games. I actually think I had Scum VM on, when I hacked my Wii, I think I put it on there and it worked pretty well for it, so definitely agree with you on that one.
Job finished. Yes, sir?
Where's the academy?
SCV good to go, sir. Reporting for duty.
Have I played any other RTS games? If so, what are they? Way back in the day, I was a huge Age of Empires fan, like a massive one. Really loved Age of Empires. Even the mythology one was really cool. Command and Conquer, a little bit.
SCV good to go, sir. Yes, sir? SCV good to go, sir.
Yeah, I need Vespene gas. make sure I've got enough to protect myself. Yeah, that should be enough for now. Let's get my supplies up.
SCV good to go, sir. Reporting for duty. SCV good to go, sir.
Deep State Gaming, ridiculous, he orders like 75 and no one can order a kit. Yeah, I heard that. I was following the development of the Ultra HDMI for quite a while, and it was a little disappointing that, from what I can gather, right at the sort of last moment before it went live, there's a bit of a change of plan in terms of, I think you were originally going to be able to buy kits, and then if I remember, he sort of changed his mind and he said he's going to sell it to resellers only, because he only wanted, I suppose, not approved people, but you know, people who knew how to do the install, which was a little bit sad.
Reporting for duty. SCV good to go, sir.
Stephen Colgan, hello. I always find it interesting to see where everyone in the world is tuning in from, even if Ireland is only across the Irish Sea. No, I don't get any lag on the N64 on Ultra HDMI. One of the cool things is a lot of people ask me what setup I use for streaming these days, and I've actually got an Elgato HD60S. And one of the cool things about it is you can use N64 to connect to it via HDMI if you've got the Ultra HDMI mod done, and then you can actually use the USB 3.0 to connect it straight into the iMac. So I'm actually using the iMac screen as the screen for, instead of connecting it separately to a TV like I used to have to do when I used to use S-Video for streaming. It makes things a lot cooler because I can just literally, you know, connect the N64 straight to my iMac using the HDMI through the Elgato HD60S, so it works pretty cool. Mr. Wapajif, all the way from Manchester. Are you a red or a blue Mancunian?
Job finished. Reporting for duty.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a difference between HD upscaler is a good option as well. Ultra HDMI does a lot more with the FPGA board inside it. You got a lot more control over the picture and some of the features in it. It's definitely a cool bit of kit, but not the cheapest. So that's why it's only really for something that I would say would be a die-hard N64 fan, to be honest. Timothy Hayes, the N64 book I contributed to, is it still available? Yep, you're talking about the Nintendo 64 Anthology. That's by Geeks Line. You can go to Geeks Line's website. You can go over on my Facebook page, and I've done some posts about it before, so you can follow the links on there. If you actually go to the video that I did for the N64 Anthology, there's also a link in the description there. Alternatively, you can buy N64 Anthology on Amazon. A lot of places in the world you can get it from Amazon. They distribute it from all over the world, so chances are you can pick it up somewhere where you are. My thoughts on Pokemon Snap, you can see those in the review that I did of it. But in short, it's a pretty cool game, very fun. Definitely one which people should enjoy playing.
You want a piece of me, boy?
Do you ever mess around making homebrew? I thought I saw you mention coding games for a job. No, I don't code games for a job. I'm a financial advisor, so I did do some coding on the side. I kind of got into web design when I was about 15, so going back to what would have been the late 90s. And I did some coding with iOS. I can develop apps for the iOS App Store, so I've built games for iOS before. But it's a completely different ball game than making games for the N64. So yeah, it's definitely not something I'll ever get around to doing, especially with how much time or how little time I have these days. It's not something I'm ever going to be building. My top 3 N64 games would be Ocarina of Time, Diddy Kong Racing, and probably GoldenEye.
SCV good to go.
Yeah, I've still not got a Brawler 64 controller. Maybe they'll send one to me. But yeah, no, I've not got a Brawler yet.
Reporting for duty.
I'm trying to remember why I can't build the academy just yet. Yeah, I think Pokemon Snap, it really would have worked, I think, on the Wii U. Having a sequel to Pokemon Snap would have been a really cool idea. Especially with the sort of gyroscope in the controller. Another cool question, Middle Dark, where can I get a good conditioned N64 controller? Should I get a joystick replacement? I would probably say that's the way to go, to be honest. I would say that if you're wanting to ensure you've got a really good one, then that's probably the way to go. Am I a fan of the NES? Yeah. I think a lot of people assume that just because I know I'm doing this out of order, by the way, but I think a lot of people assume that just because I've got an N64 channel that is the only thing I play and I'm a huge fanboy, which I definitely am. I'm a big fan, obviously, of the N64. But it's not the only system that I play. I started way back with, you know, things like the Amiga, the NES, Mega Drive, so I played a lot of systems. And PlayStation as well. A lot of people think I automatically hate the PlayStation for some reason, but it's definitely not the case.
Let's move.
I'm just doing this part here just for a bit of carnage, to be honest. My opinions on Command and Conquer. It's a fun game. It's good. I enjoyed it.
You want a piece of me, boy? Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. You want a piece of
Oh, I don't need another command center. Yeah, this is very similar to Command and Conquer to an extent. They're both sort of, I suppose, futuristic RTS games, but very different. What's my two favourite Resident Evil games? I'd probably say 1 and 2. I was probably one of the few people that enjoyed, I can't remember which number it was. It was the one that had all the controversy about the racism because all of the zombies were black guys in Africa, which I thought was pretty crazy, but that one I actually enjoyed. I know a lot of people didn't like it.
Jacked up and good to go. Rock and roll.
Hi Movie Metalhead, thanks for tuning in. Good day to you too.
You want a piece of me, boy? Reporting for duty.
Any more gas? I can't remember why it's not letting me build an academy.
Yes, sir?
Oh, really? It's because it's tucked away behind my picture. Okay, so let's get the academy built and let's get this level wrapped off.
Yes, sir?
I am LI3, the superior version of Starcraft being streamed. I wouldn't say necessarily superior, but it's definitely a fun version to play. Something New Every Day's also said, yeah, this is a great game in co-op, so it's one of the limited console multiplayer RTS experiences you can have. So very cool. Yeah, Nicholas Cortez digging the sprites. Have I thought about streaming Lilac Wars? I've streamed Lilac Wars before. I don't think I've got any recording of it. But yeah, again, it's one of those games where I've got to get into the zone, otherwise if I streamed it, I'll just be garbage.
Job finished.
Okay, let me just boost up those. Let's get some fire bats built. Yeah, auto mining workers for sure.
Need a light?
Okay, so we're just going to get these guys together and then we'll do some damage. So for now I'm just going to send, because I need to reduce the amount of guys that I've got. I'm just going to send these over here to get killed pretty much, just so I can free up these slots that I need for fire bats to be built. So let's send those guys on a death mission. Movie Metalhead, thank you very much. Yeah, the Mischief Makers review. A lot of people really dig sprite work on the N64. If you do, like sprite work, Bango is another really cool game.
Reporting for duty. Give me something to shoot. Fire it up. Reporting for duty. Good to go.
Okay, let's go do some carnage work.
Additional supply depots required.
Miguel Flores, you recently bought Ogre Battle for 20 what? Dollars, pesos, lira, euros. IML3, yeah, I'm just doing the tutorials for now because there's some people in the stream who've never seen this game before. I'm just getting these tutorials out of the way, but also it refreshes my memory as well because it's been a while since I played this one. Nicholas Cortez, I haven't reviewed this yet actually, so I haven't reviewed Starcraft. What I probably need to do is obviously work through all of the campaigns, so it's quite a big game actually, so it could take a while. Okay, let's do some serious damage now. Let's bring the fire bats to take some buildings down. Daniel Goodman, good to see you. Miguel Flores, Ogre Battle for $20 US. This sounds like a good deal to me. Movie Metalhead, do I like Worms Armageddon on the N64? I do. I prefer it on the PC though. Keely 1986, thank you very much for your comments. Always appreciate hearing feedback, good or bad from people, but obviously any good feedback is always even appreciated a little bit more. And Retro Gamer, yeah, this tutorial is taking a little bit longer than normal because I couldn't see the Academy icon, which is hidden behind the webcam on the screen that I'm working off, so now I'm just going to blast through everything. I just got to take out all of these buildings, so...
You got my attention.
Alien Chronicles, I'll get around to. It's not one of my favourite games, to be honest. Yeah, the sprite work in Worms is pretty good. Definitely agree with that.
Fire it up.
Let's get these guys taking some buildings
You
down.
got my attention.
Yeah, the digitized explosions are pretty cool. A88 or A88 miles per hour. You grew up playing the original PC release of this game. When you found this version in a retro game store, you had to get it for the novelty. I love that.
Naturally. Fire it up. Got it.
Okay, let's just get these
Got my
wrapped up.
attention. You got it. Naturally.
Yeah, a lot of people ask me for Alien Chronicles. I mean, one of the things when I do sort of reviews on this channel is that generally any games that are really big or take a lot of time, generally I need to sort of plan a month or two in advance to try and get around to capturing all the footage that I need. So things like Paper Mario, Alien Chronicles, you know, they're the ones that generally are going to take quite a bit of time to put together. Okay, let's just go into the missions now. Okay, so we're now starting what would be the actual main campaign. Those two levels we just went through took a bit longer than normal just because a little bit rusty, but now we're going to actually get into the game. So, good evening, Magistrate. I'll fill you in on what's been happening. Confederate traffic has increased substantially within the system due to the recent Protoss destruction of the Chow Sara colony. The Confederates have tightened security on all outlying systems, and it's likely that this colony will be locked down as well. An encrypted Confederate transmission came for you whilst we were at dinner, and they're going to replay the transmission. So basically the General Duke is saying, I'm General Edmund Duke of the Confederate Security Forces Alpha Squadron. The Confederacy has quarantined this entire planet and will proceed with the lockdown within 48 hours. You're to relocate your core colonists to the outlying wastelands. Now I know there won't be any problems with these new arrangements. So the advisor said that they've contacted the local marshal, who's James Rayner. Rayner has agreed to meet your personnel en route and escort them to the new wasteland site. Moodorf, yes, there is a skirmish mode.
Give me something to shoot. Go, go, go.
I quite like this level. This level's pretty cool.
Go, go, go. Let's move. Go, go, go. Let's move. Go, go, go. Anytime you're ready.
Okay, so we've now met up with Jim Rayner. So we've got to keep Jim Rayner alive in this mission, which isn't too difficult.
This should be good.
Here we go. So let's get some supplies and get building.
Not enough minerals.
So I need to get my SCV
Yes, sir.
and get harvesting. Ogre Battle 64 is awesome, yeah. It's a pretty cool game, really in-depth tactics. I think a lot of people are surprised with just how much sort of tactical work there is involved in it. It's a pretty cool game, for sure.
Anytime you're ready. Sounds fun.
Let's just move those out of the way. There we go. The music in this game, you could say, yeah, you could say it's heavily butchered. I mean, obviously there's the cart limitations on this one. So it's something that they have to try and work around, which is always difficult. Yeah, I'm not playing this on the fastest game speed. The reason for that is I want to keep things generally at a pretty okay pace. One of the things about streaming this game is it means times like now I can really join in with the conversation whilst, you know, I'm just building up supplies. So I'm a pretty laid back person when it comes to streaming, unless I'm playing Diddy Kong Racing, of course, which generally speaking is pretty intense when I play that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's get some building work done. So let's get a barrack so I can build my numbers up. Moodorf, you were thinking of the best N64 soundtrack yesterday. Perfect Dark comes to mind. Yeah, everyone in the chat, let me know what you think is the best soundtrack on the N64. I'd put Diddy Kong Racing up there. I'd probably put Snowboard Kids as well up there for nostalgia. Pilot Wings, yeah, really good shout. James Bond 099, Wave Race 64 is pretty good tunes as well. I'd agree with that. Of course, yeah, F-Zero as well. That's another one with a really cool soundtrack. Oh, do not have a barracks. Yeah, I'm building one.
Job's finished.
Perfect. Yeah, Jet Force Gemini is a really good soundtrack. The orchestrated version's really, really nice. Definitely underrated.
of me, boy?
Martinus Walters. Fancy seeing me here. It's almost 11 o'clock here in the Netherlands. Well, it's nearly 10 PM here in the UK.
SCV, good to go, sir.
Yes, it is possible to complete this game on the N64.
You want a piece of me, boy? Yes, sir? You want a piece
So
of me,
just waiting for
boy?
these Marines to come up in numbers. Do I know if this was the first RTS game on the console? No, Command & Conquer came out before this, and I think Command & Conquer on the PlayStation came out before the N64 version as well, but I'm not entirely sure on that. Someone who's a Command & Conquer fan will probably advise in the comment section, in the chat. I'm very good, Mr. Walters. Which part of the Netherlands are you from? One of my friends at work, he's from Holland as well, so always got a lot of love for Holland or Dutch people. Okay, so that was a nice, easy level. So we're getting another incoming transmission. So it's Jim Rayner. Hey, what's up, man? Got your refugees tucked away nice and tight, provided you can sidestep any more surprises from our Confederate friends and we can keep them away from those critters. They should have an easy time. So priority alert, backwater station under attack by unknown alien organisms, distress beacon activated, alerting Confederate headquarters on Tarsonis, stand by for incoming transmission. So we've got General Duke. I've already received the distress beacon from Backwater and we'll take care of it. You just sit tight, you'll be notified if there's anything we think you should know. So Jim Rayner with some attitude. Give me a break, listen. If we wait for the Confederate reinforcements, that station's dust. I'll head out there now, do what I can. You send in some militia and we'll save those folks, trust me. So that's one of the cool things about this game is the mission structures. They do have different, I suppose, things you can do in them. They've got different sort of styles of a mission, which is really cool.
Not enough minerals.
You want a piece of me, boy?
You want a piece of me, boy?
So we got Jim Rayner here.
Anytime you're ready. Sounds fun.
Now this is one of those levels, so the first time I played through this level back in the day,
You want a piece of me, boy?
hang on.
Not enough minerals.
So the first time I played through this level back in the day, I built up a huge army, but you don't really need to do that for this level. Because as you move up a little bit around the corner, you've got a few things that you need to sort of take care of in a skirmish. Okay, so let me just get these numbers up. Movie Metalhead, do I plan on doing any more documentary style videos like my one on the serial killers that inspired Shadow Man's The Five? Yeah, I'd like to. One of the problems with that video is it got flagged because of the content with serial killers. It got flagged by YouTube, so they didn't properly push it out. So I think a lot of people, even who subscribe to the channel, don't even know that I did that video, which is a shame because I definitely think it's one of the more unique videos that I've done on the channel. But I'd definitely like to do some more like that one day. I've already got a list of some pretty cool topics that I'd like to sort of cover, so yeah, shouldn't be too long. Mr. Walters, no, this doesn't use the N64 mouse, unfortunately. That's some high quality H2O. Well, thanks Movie Metalhead. I enjoyed making that video as well. It was something a little bit different.
Reporting for duty.
Okay, so I need to get this refinery built. There we go. This level's got quite a slow start to it, but it does pick up. There's a good action sequence right at the end of it, but for now it's really just building up the supplies. Yeah, that was a Waterboy reference. Brian Anderson, you paid over £100 sterling for this game in PAL. Maybe it was overpriced. It was 8 years ago, and you have a complete N64 collection. Very, very cool. When I was collecting, probably about 8 years ago, when I got up to what, it must have been a couple of hundred, or I think it was well over half actually, maybe about 2/3 of the way to a complete in-box PAL collection. So this was definitely a cool one to get. So £100 for it. For the PAL version, I think still pretty good, even to this day. It depends whether you're talking complete in box or cart only. Leo Amaya, how do you support the channel? Just keep watching what I do. You know, liking the videos, commenting, chatting. They're the ways that I like people to support the channel. Some people want to do it financially, so I forgot to mention at the start of the stream, but if anyone uses the super chat during the stream, any super chat donations, they always go to charities. So if anyone does use the super chat, it will be going to charity. And I think YouTube's also started a new membership to the channel. So it's a pretty cool feature that they've got. I think it's like $4.99 a month or $5 a month, something like that. There's some exclusive stuff that you get. So I'm not even entirely sure how you activate it or subscribe to it. But again, anything in terms of memberships, that also goes to charity as well. So I think I'm pretty fortunate that in my life I do well for myself. So that's why I like to give anything really that the channel makes. It either goes back into the channel to get new things that I need to carry on making more videos, or money that I make also goes to charities as well. I know there are some YouTube channels where they do it sort of professionally for a living. Good to them. That's really cool, and it's obviously, you know, they need support from people a lot more than I do. But also they put more hours into what they do as well. And Retro Gamer, has anybody used the new Premiere feature on YouTube? I haven't, because I haven't got any new videos lined up yet. However, when I do, it's definitely something that I'm going to be using. It's a pretty cool feature. It just basically allows everyone to get together when a new video is going live to basically get together and sort of enjoy the video together. Let's get some more soldiers built. Get some more Marines.
Not enough minerals.
Yeah, that's the reason why I do this channel. I think always from the start,
You want a piece of me, boy?
a lot of people have said, you know, how much do I want to... Wow, Chris B, you really didn't have to do that. 25 US dollars. That's actually the biggest donation that the channel's ever had, so I really appreciate that. If there's any particular causes that you'd like the donation to go to, let me know and I'll figure out how to get it to. And one of the cool things as well that a lot of people don't know about, sort of when people in the UK give to charities, is that when you make a donation to a charity here in the UK, you can also claim the tax back on it. So I think it's like 20% or 25%, I can't remember exactly, but basically, so say if I give £10 to a charity, the charity can also claim additional money. I think it's called gift aid. So wow, really appreciate that. Chris B, 25 US dollars, thank you once again. And you know, leave me a comment in the chat, let me know what type of cause you'd like it to go to. Some people like cancer treatment, some people like animal charities. There's a really cool charity here in the UK. So whilst I just carry on building up my supplies, there's a really cool charity here in the UK, and what they do is they build, I suppose, gaming equipment like controllers, systems that basically go to sort of help people with disabilities. Now I feel really bad because I've forgotten their name, but I will remember it. I'll talk about them again in another stream. And basically they do really good work. So say if someone, for example, is paralyzed, they've got all these really cool eye technology tracking that they use to help people make games. So if anyone's seen like the Microsoft Xbox One controller, they do that kind of thing but specific for people's needs. So they build controllers and gaming rigs and modify consoles so that people who have got really serious disabilities can still enjoy games. So that's one of the really cool charities that a lot of people here in the UK, especially in the gaming community, that's what they generally support. Alexander Barreto, nice live, thank you very much. So let's get an engineering bay built as well. So starting to build up a decent sized army. To be honest, I've probably got enough soldiers and infantry here to be able to take out exactly what I need, but I always like to have a pretty cool mix. So let me just get these guys together. Is anyone else OCD when they have RTS games like this where they like to keep all of their soldiers and vehicles in special areas? I wasn't sure if it was just me just being OCD. Yeah, N64 controllers are notorious for wear. This black one that I'm using, this one I've had probably now for about 15 years, I think. And it's starting to get a little bit rusty on the inside, but I don't really use the rumble pack when I'm playing games, or memory cards even, because I can run things and save it onto the EverDrive. But the thumbstick's still holding up pretty good, and I've got a box replacement, which I did have it somewhere here if I wanted to show you, but I'll do a live stream one time, so next time I change over the thumbsticks on one of my controllers, I'll do a live stream of it so you can see me take the controller apart and put in a brand new thumbstick, because you can buy them for a couple of dollars replacements. There's also really cool metal. So let's do some upgrades. So should we go for armor or weapons? So leave a comment in the chat. Let me know if you think I should upgrade the weapons or the infantry armor. The first person to comment makes the decision. Okay, armor it is. So the first person was James the Hot Pocket. So we're going to upgrade the armor to begin with. See what else to build. Barracks, command center, engineering bay, refinery. I think I'm okay at the minute. I think I need to upgrade some guys first. Did I ever play the N64 Resident Evil 0 beta? No, and I really would love to. I don't actually think it's around. I don't actually think that ROM has ever been leaked, and I think it's one of the ones that a lot of people really want, along with Dinosaur Planet. The Dinosaur Planet one, geez, if somebody had the beta cart of that or a prototype, they'd be seriously making some bank on that. Moodorf, you tried the Hori mini pad and your hands were too big. That's a common thing that people say. I've got the Hori mini pad here as well. I like it for certain games, things like F-Zero, where you just need really good analog. My hands are quite big as well, so you know, it is a small pad. It wasn't really designed for Western people because it was a Japanese exclusive controller, so they're obviously a little bit smaller in terms of the hand size, but it's really good for some games it's garbage for, so I think it's one of those where you couldn't use it exclusively as your only controller, but for the select sort of games it's generally a pretty good one.
SCV good to go, sir.
Okay, so we're maxing out the minerals. Yeah, Neon Genesis Evangelion is a cool game. For those of you that don't know that game, definitely check out my review of Neon Genesis. It's a really unique game, and one which, if you get a guide, there's guides online that can tell you how to play it with controls and so on, because each level's slightly different, but it's a pretty cool game.
Yes, sir. Right away, sir.
Yeah, one of the things, Ant Retro Gamer, you bring up a really good point there. One of the things that I've always thought of, and I think it would be a really unique controller, and it's not one that, you know, you'd be able to use for every game. But if somebody like Retro Fighters, they'd be the sort of company that I think would be the right people to do it. If they made an N64 controller and made it twin analog stick, so obviously keep the standard analog stick, but then mapped the second analog stick to the C buttons. So essentially it would be a digital stick, so an analog stick and a digital stick. Games like Turok would be a little bit more playable for a lot of people, and it would actually be a pretty cool concept to see them do so. Well, Chris B, seriously, after your $25 donation, you really didn't have to do 50. So Chris B, a $50 US donation, that's a lot of money today. And again, you've still not told me any specific charity that you'd like this to go to, so in total $75. I hope it's not a stolen credit card, by the way. But that's really appreciated. And again, leave a comment, let me know where you want me to go, where you want the donation to go to. Mitch Mannix, £2 sterling. You've left a comment, long time fan, love your videos. So Mitch, thank you very much. Again, really appreciate the donations. Please let me know what causes. If there's not a specific charity, as I said before, just let me know any type of cause, whether you want it to go to an animal charity, a charity that helps disabilities. If you want it to go to, you know, any type of cause, just let me know and I'll make it happen. Omega, yeah, you can speed up the game, but we're keeping it at this speed just because it means I can interact more. So whilst building work's going on, it just means I can spend a lot more time in the chat. Compared to when I do other streams, like with racing games and so on. I might actually try and do this just using...
Reporting for duty.
I'm just thinking if I'm actually going to risk doing this with just... Woodling, good to see you. We're just playing some Starcraft 64. Mitch Mannix, again, thank you again for the super chat. So again, to everyone that is using the super chat, really appreciate it. Again, You've still not given me any specific charities, so if not, I'll just leave it at my discretion. But again, really appreciate everybody tuning in. And speaking of which, Woodland, you may know this. We've just been talking about the fact that super chats are going to be going to charities. So any super chats in this stream are going to be going to charitable causes. And I was trying to remember a name. There's a charity here in the UK that they build sort of controllers and they make systems for people with disabilities. And I'm trying to remember the name of them. So maybe you can help remind me, because I'm sure you'll know as well, because they're a UK company. Nicholas Cortez, yeah, GBP means Great Britain pound. Manny Stovall, what's my thoughts on the PS4? Mixed. I've got one. I don't think I've actually played it in like the past year. So it's not one that I play a lot, to be honest. I've got my Xbox One here. This is my study in my house where I live. So this is basically the room that I do most gaming in, to be honest. I've got my N64 next to the Xbox One. The PlayStation 4 is downstairs in my living room.
You want a piece of me, boy?
This port, I can't remember if it comes with the expansion packs that came out for the PC. I don't think that would be the case. So Mitch Mannix, you'd like it to go to a cancer charity because your dad's battling cancer at the moment. Really sorry to hear that. It's cancer is one of those things that it touches a lot of people. Pretty much, you know, it's one of those things everyone at some point in their life, you know, sort of goes through, and it sucks for a lot of people. Even there's people in the YouTube gaming community that I know as well that, you know, have either going through it or they've been through it. In fact, not even just gaming charities, not even gaming channels on YouTube. So Matt Zion over at Reckless Eating, really cool channel, by the way, if you like sort of food reviews and stuff. Really good channel, Reckless Eating. He actually did a video where he talked about when he got testicular cancer as well. So touches a lot of people, but like I said, fingers crossed one day, maybe one day they'll get a cure for it. That's all we can all hope for, really. Okay, so I'm going to build one more Marine, and then we're going to go on a bit of a rampage. Because I think I've got my guy souped up as much as possible. Jim Rayner, I'm going to leave here. Now the reason for that is it's critical to the mission that he's got to survive. So the last thing I want to do is take my souped up guys on a bit of a rampage when he could get picked off, basically. So these guys should be strong enough to do this level. 20 plus soldiers, Marines should be enough, so this should be enough to do this. So right, no, let's do some rampage work. Actually, I don't want Jim Rayner. Crispy again with another $5 US. No stolen credit card here, just do whatever you want with it. Long time fan, bought the N64 collection, the N64 anthology. Am I excited for Smash? So again, thanks for all of your donations. In terms of am I excited for Smash? Yeah, definitely. I watched the reveal and I was a little bit disappointed. I was kind of hoping for Banjo, which I know a lot of people are probably saying it's going to be a DLC, which is potential. Now, despite my surname as well, I wasn't massively thrilled to see Piranha Plant as one of the characters. Okay, so we've got the rescue on. What's my thoughts on Unreal Tournament? I really enjoyed it back on the PC. back in when I was younger, I used to spend normally a week or two at my grandma's house during the summer holidays. Normally when my parents would sort of go off to like Thailand or India on holiday and stuff. So me and my brother, we would go to my grandma's house, and she had a PC. It was a fairly decent one actually, surprisingly. And we would have like bootleg versions of like Quake and stuff. So we used to play quite a bit of Unreal. So you can see now why I like to build up a good number of soldiers, because I like to just have a bit of rampages rather than just sort of trying to get by with just the minimum.
Rock and roll. Go, go, go. Go, go, go.
To be honest, I probably should have built an academy and got some Firebirds for this, but I think with this number of soldiers I should be fine. Because these guys, I've upgraded the armor and the weapons as well, so.
Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Rock and roll. Go, go, go. Let's move.
So who's everyone's favourite new Smash character? There was some pretty unique. I mean, the roster's what, 72 characters, so it's a big number. Woodland 37. Will you see me at Tesco Chorley this Christmas? Possibly. I'm going skiing again the week before Christmas, but because my sister lives in Coppell, I'll probably be coming up at some point. And also one of my nephews, he's really into Nintendo Switch at the minute, so maybe I'll be popping in to pick up something on the Switch to give to him for Christmas. Maybe I'll try and get him into Smash. Okay, actually I think somewhere up here, I think there's another part. Yeah, here we go. Up here. My thoughts on Silent Hill. To be honest, I was never a big Silent Hill fan. I had it back on the PlayStation, but one of the sort of interesting things about it was that it was just something that I'd never really clicked with. But one of my my flatmates, going back sort of 10-15 years ago, he was really into it. He was a massive fan of Silent Hill. I remember him playing the, I think it must have been the Xbox 360 one, because he wanted to get all of the achievements and stuff on it. But that one was pretty cool. I enjoyed watching him play it. I never got into playing it myself. Survival horror and sort of horror genre is not really. It's not really my sort of area. I like racing games. A lot of people know that racing games are normally the type of games that I like to play.
Reporting for duty.
There you go. Let's build some fire bats and just get this level finished.
Research complete.
Manny Stove or Metal Gear Solid, though, that's a different ball game. So Metal Gear Solid I really enjoyed. However, the PlayStation 1 Metal Gear Solid I liked, but pretty much all of them after that I've not enjoyed. I can't remember the name of it. Metal Gear Solid Patriots, I think it was the Xbox 360 one. Man, that was like, it was like, you know, spend an hour watching a cutscene, then, you know, spend 5 minutes playing, and then you get another ridiculously long cutscene, and the whole story just got too convoluted. The last Metal Gear Solid I enjoyed, or the last Metal Gear game I enjoyed even, was probably Twin Snakes back on the GameCube. That one I enjoyed. That was a really cool game. If I remember correctly, that one's the Vietnam one. I always found Vietnam interesting anyway when I was in school, so.
Need a light. Need a light.
Yeah, Mr. Squeezins, yeah, I knew that. I was trying to kill off some units just to get some Firebirds ready, because I knew that I was going to probably need them to get this taken down. But thanks for taking time to let me know. Woodland, yeah. It's really interesting because my nephew, who's really into Switch, he now wants a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One for Christmas. And I've said to his parents, like, you know, yeah, you can get him one, but you're probably looking at next year when, you know, the next generation starts coming out.
Naturally.
I think it would be a bad time to be buying an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4 right now. You never know, they may try and drag it out for a little bit longer, but
You got it.
generally I prefer arcade racing games. I don't mind simulations, but generally arcade style games, something with a little bit more personality.
Naturally.
House of the Dead, now that's a game. Pretty cool story. House of the Dead I've always enjoyed. I'm not too sure if I've told this story before actually.
You got it.
But when I got when I'm trying to actually remember the dates here, but I moved home once, so I'd left home when I was 16, and then I moved back home for a few months when I was about 18, I think, 18 or 19, and my dad had an Xbox, one of the original Xboxes, and my dad was always really big into his light gun games. He absolutely loved them. So games like, you know, Die Hard Trilogy, he just used to absolutely love the light gun games. So basically, you know, we used to play it on the Xbox, and then this was back in probably the earlier days of eBay. I went on there to try and find, you know, what the best light gun would be, and I found this, like, it must be some knockoff weird, like Chinese branded light gun. But the cool thing about it had an insane recoil action on it. So you had to plug it into the mains, this light gun, and it had one of the most ferocious recoils I've ever seen on any light gun ever. It used to literally shake the gun out of your hand. It was that powerful. It used to make a really loud clicking noise as well as it would start smashing back and forth. So I remember we used to stay up late at night playing House of the Dead, like in co-op, trying to complete it. And it always used to really piss my mum off because me and my dad would be there and all she could hear was the rattling. Here we go, here's Jim Raynor. So it's all kicking off. That's a really good question, Woodland. So I'm going to read it out anyway so that people who are watching this back later will be able to see it. So what do you think of Nintendo's online service on the Switch with NES games being a perk? I think they've missed it. Well, my personal opinion, other people are probably going to comment, is the fact that they should have treated it almost a bit like a Netflix experience. They should have had a big library of games. They could have charged a little bit more, maybe annually or monthly, to get the subscription, and just also have the online, you know, sort of built into it. I think people would be a lot more inclined to keep hold of it, especially if they could then start adding, you know, new content, if you want to put it that way, by putting sort of new games on there. So General Duke, this is the next level, by the way. We just completed that last one. So I got your message, Magistrate, and frankly, I don't care what you have to say about Confederate regulations. You stinking fringe world yokels are all alike. Don't know where your loyalties lie. You'll have a real good day now you're here. So the transmission ended. The report you requested is ready. 16 outland stations have reported sightings of the alien invaders identified as Zerg. The Confederates have arrested all standing militia forces and continue to avoid action against the Zerg. 3 stations have fallen to the Zerg already. We've been unable to locate any source of military relief except the extremist faction known as the Sons of Korhal. Their liaison is holding online. Now Mensk, he's a new character we've just come across. So good day, Magistrate. My name is... I'm not even going to pronounce that. And I represent the Sons of Korhal. You're familiar with the Confederate propaganda surrounding my group, but your reputation suggests you'll see past it. It's never been our practice to operate in any one place for long, but these don't look like they're going to wait. I'm going to make you an offer, Magistrate. I'd like to help out by sending down a number of transports to your colony and evacuating any survivors. You know, of course, that my organisation operates outside the bounds of any Confederate law. That's why they spread their lies and misinformation. If you decide to accept our help, you'll be branded as an outlaw too, but it's a chance to save those people. Time to make a stand, Magistrate. The transmission's ending. Priority alert. Evacuation zone under attack by Zerg forces. Distress beacon activated at 12:20. End of briefing. So this one's a timed mission. So this bunker is currently damaged. To repair it, send an SCV. You may also repair the vulture next to it. So I need to get an SCV. So first thing I want to do is get that repaired.
Reporting for duty. What do you want?
So this is a pretty tough mission, I think, this one. So well spoken. Yeah, the frame rate in Perfect Dark is not ideal, to be honest.
No problem.
Yeah, let me get those shells.
Insufficient Vespine gas.
So this is one of the things with this level is
Your forces are under attack.
there's a lot of upgrades now available.
SCV good to go, sir. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. SCV good to go, sir. I can't build there.
Let's get that refinery built. Same with the Alone in the Dark series. I was never massively a big fan of it. Then again, I've got a pretty weird taste in games for a lot of people. And again, if anyone can hear the explosions in the background, it's just the fireworks going off. Get some next level weapons ready.
Insufficient Vespine gas.
I need to get the gas up. There we go.
Jacked up and good to go. Give me something to shoot. Jacked up and good to go.
So I'm just going to have a quick little scan of the map. So yeah, I'm just going to need to build up some forces right here. Middle Dark, why have I not added you back on Xbox Live? To be honest, I don't even think I've got an Xbox Live subscription at the moment. So I've not turned on my Xbox in quite a while. I think it's been well over a month since I last turned it on. Woodland, no, I went to Southlands. So I went to Southlands. Pretty funny actually though, when we first moved to Chorley back in 94, 95, something like that, I think we were going to be going to Parklands, but there was a mix-up because my mum wanted to get us into Southlands, and I think she got the name of the schools mixed up, but they managed to sort it out though.
Insufficient Vespine gas.
Still need some more gas, okay. Mr. Wapajif says, this is weird, I'm from Chorley. If you are, that is actually pretty funny, to be honest. Well, I'm sure you did say Manchester at the start of the stream, so I'm guessing that you're probably just being general.
Need a light.
Your forces are under attack.
Okay. Things are going down. Okay. Hopefully they can just hold off. Just so I've got time here to quickly get an upgrade done. There we go. Let's get that upgrade as quickly as possible. Mr. Wapajif, you went to Southlands, which is close to Adlington where you grew up. I had many nights in Adlington because the little off license there used to serve me when I was like 15 years old. So we used to buy a bottle of vodka. We all used to chip into it and then just go drink at the park, just by the football and cricket pitch. So yeah, I know Adlington well. Quite a few friends grew up in Adlington, so I used to spend a lot of time there. Chris Wright, you developed an N64 keyboard and mouse adapter for this game a few months ago. It makes the game far more playable. I would love to see that. Send me a link to, or some photos and stuff, or any videos. That would be cool to see. If you send it on my Facebook page as well, I'll share it out because that sounds pretty cool. So I'm not getting any more attacks at the moment, so I'm just waiting for this engineering bay to finish the upgrade. No, I never used to joyride through Rivington, although one time when I was coming back from... What the hell are they doing there?
Fire it up.
When I...
Naturally.
I was driving through
Naturally.
Rivington one time and some people were trying to flash us to join their dogging session, which was an experience.
You got it.
Yeah, I don't drink anymore though, Woodland, so that was way back in the day, like most kids. Nicholas Cortez, is it true that we drink warm beer? I suppose it depends if you're homeless or not. I'm not a big fan of Grand Theft Auto. I really loved the first Grand Theft Auto. I really enjoyed it. But since then, it's not really been a game that I've spent a lot of time on. I quite like Vice City. When I lived in Tunisia, of all places, I used to play Vice City quite a lot. Just because it was fun, to be honest. It was a game that I had, so I spent quite a bit of time getting my money's worth out of it.
Naturally. You got it. Naturally.
So that guy's going to get taken down now, but... Yeah, Guy Ritchie's, his older films were good. When he sort of first blew up, Guy Ritchie was really good. And then I think he got a bit too... I don't want to say he believed his own hype too much, but he kind of sort of started to just self-indulge a little bit. The game that I'm looking forward to most the next is probably Smash Ultimate. Got to protect your neck. Yeah, the Resident Evil 2 remake, it'll be fun. I'll be looking forward to definitely checking that one out. Okay, so Jim Rain is still with us.
Insufficient Vespine gas.
Give me something to shoot.
I could probably do with building another barracks as well, actually. Jan Moller, no, I don't have the Retro Fighters Brawler pad. It's one of those, I'd like to get one, probably to play out, but I don't know how much I'd actually use it. I've heard it's good though, I've heard good reviews. I watched Metal Jesus' review on it. And there's a few problems, and I think the points that he raised, they've actually corrected now. Have I heard of The Walking Dead? Yeah, never liked it. Yeah, never liked The Walking Dead.
What do you want? I dig. You want a piece of me, boy?
Okay, what do we got there? Nothing. Okay. Plenty of minerals though. Yeah, I've heard of Mad Cats. When I was a kid, it was a bit of a joke. If anyone, especially on the N64, you know, people to buy the official controllers were always expensive, so people always used to end up with these crap Mad Cats controllers. So if anyone, you know, would sort of come to play multiplayer, they'd chances are they get some third-party crap controller. So I suppose it's probably the same in a lot of parts of the world. Catch you later, Woodland. Thanks for tuning in.
You want a piece of me? Yeah, I'm going. I'll reach you. I dig. You want a piece of me, boy?
Consciously Speaking classic, indeed it is.
You want a piece of me, boy?
I don't know why I don't like The Walking Dead. I think it's just one of those where I just never really got into it. And I know there's like tons of series, but I heard a lot of people complaining about like the past few series of it, the past 3 seasons, sorry. MM144mm. Yeah, I do post these after streaming. It takes quite a long time for YouTube to process. As a general rule of thumb, if I do like a 4-hour stream, then it takes about 4 hours to process. So this might not go live until tomorrow. Let's do some adventuring, but first let's get rid of Jim Raynor.
Yeah, I'm going. What do you want? Yeah, I'm going.
Oh, there's Vulture.
What do you
It's
want?
fine.
I dig.
I thought it was Jim Raynor.
No problem.
Research complete.
I dig.
So the research has just been completed as I started this assault, so these guys should be pretty tough.
Yeah, I'm going.
Your forces are under attack.
Let's move. Rock and roll. Go, go, go. Let's move.
Plus they got the upgraded ammo and everything. Yeah, okay, so we've had an update. Magistrate analysis shows that it may be possible to break through the Zerg's defenses and reach Meng's transports.
Your forces are under
Good to know.
attack.
Okay, so we've got to survive for 30 minutes or destroy the hatchery.
Let's move. Rock and roll.
So I'm going to leave those guys to carry on because I'm going to need to get some more guys built. Let's get a fire bat, get another one. Let's get 3. Why do people dislike Quest 64? It's a good question. I think just, especially for the first RPG on the N64, I just think that people expected a lot more, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm going. I dig. No problem. Yeah, I'm going. I dig. No problem. Yeah, I'm going. I dig.
Yeah, the PG era, it's okay. I mean, it's one of those, I think a lot of people, like the era of wrestling that they grew up in, so, even though I was a wrestling fan from way back in the day, like the Hulk Hogan era, for me it was really the Attitude Era, like a lot of people my age, so, people who are older than me, they prefer the, sort of the golden generation, so, guess everybody's different. You know, a lot of people like the area that they grew up in, so a lot of it just comes down to, I suppose, when you're a big fan of wrestling as to what you know, what era you think the best one was.
Under attack.
Yeah, I'm going. No problem.
Soul Marine. Let's rescue this guy. Let's get him back to base. At least give him a chance to survive. Plus, let's get some more soldiers ready.
You got my attention.
And let's go on my next expedition with these guys.
Naturally. You got it. Let's burn. Naturally. You got it. Naturally.
Yeah, I know the NWO. I used to enjoy WCW as well. I just always thought that WWE was better.
Naturally. Naturally. Let's burn. Naturally.
Your forces are under attack.
Naturally.
Your
Naturally.
forces are under attack.
You got it.
So they should be able to hold their own position. But for now,
Give me something to shoot.
okay, no, they're looking after themselves. Let's go back up to where we are.
Fire it up. You got it. Naturally. You got it. Naturally. Naturally. You got it. Naturally.
Man, my squad's just going to get taken down big time right now. Just do some damage to it. I've only got to survive like another 6 minutes, so okay, I definitely need to build some more soldiers and some. There we go. Let's get some hardcore.
Need a light.
Insufficient vestige.
Actually, I don't need to. I shouldn't need to do that.
Reporting for duty.
Insufficient forces are under attack.
Give me something to shoot.
Your forces are under attack. Your forces are
So
under
this is where we're going to come under big attack.
Need a light.
So I like a final 5 minute, they have like a bit of a surge. Yeah, this is using the Ultra
Forces are
HDMI.
under attack.
You got my attention.
Base is under attack. Base is under attack.
How can that be out of range, really? I should have done the range upgrade.
Base is under attack. Your forces are under
Okay, that little guy's not going to do enough damage in the next sort of 3. Ooh. Didn't realise the barracks had been smashed. I'm going to need to get some supplies and that pronto to help with the build.
Give me something to shoot. Rock and roll.
Ruthless aggression was a really interesting era.
Yes, sir?
There's not really much more to say than that, really, to be honest. It had some interesting moments. Some of the writing was pretty bad.
You got my attention. You got my attention. You got it. Give me something to shoot. Go, go, go.
Base is under attack.
Okay, I've really not been paying attention.
Base is under attack.
I really probably should have done. Because now I'm about to get overrun and I've got like 2 minutes to survive. Uh-oh.
Base is under attack.
Got it.
Base is under attack.
This is not going well. See, this is what happens when you take your eye off the ball.
Base is
I'm about to get overrun right now. A little bit of slowdown there, but they're about to blow that up.
Base is under attack.
But can it survive for the next minute? I think it can. I'm really hoping it can. But there's a whole swarm that is really coming to do some damage.
Base is under attack.
So let's just watch this slow down as it goes ballistic. Yeah, there's no way this is going to be able to survive. Just look at that. Oh really? Like with 1 minute to go. Just look at that volume of enemies right now. Yeah, to be honest, I could have lifted off, but I knew that level was pretty much done. Well, that's going to bring the end to this stream anyway. I've really enjoyed that actually. So again, thanks everybody for tuning in. I'm definitely going to come back and sort of do another stream of Starcraft 64 again sometime, because it's probably the perfect game to stream actually, because you know, whilst there's sort of building work going on, it just gives me the opportunity to join in with the chat more, which I've really enjoyed tonight. So again, thanks to everybody for tuning in, especially everybody that use the super chat button. Again, you know, really appreciate that, and I'll make sure it goes to good causes. And again, especially Mitch Mannix, I'm losing my tongue, Mitch Mannix, Chris B as well. Chris B, huge amount of super chats, so really appreciate that. And again, thank you once again. It's more than generous, but I really appreciate everybody tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. In the meantime, I'm going to be starting work on my next video review, which is going to be probably next Friday. And this one I'm going to set a premiere for, so when it actually goes live, I'll be in the chat for the duration of the video. So all being well, I should be able to get that wrapped up. I've already got half of the script written, I've got all the footage captured, so I'll get the next one done pretty soon. But have a great weekend, and thanks once again to everybody for tuning in, everyone who's been a part of this stream.